It is definitely January weather out there. Chilly, raining, wind blowing, so be prepared to fight the elements if you're heading out today. To pay or not to pay, when the check engine light goes on, does it make a difference if you take your car to a shop that makes you pay to have them check out the problem? Our auto guy, Brian Bowersock of West Escondido Auto, is here with the answers that could save you a lot of money. Thanks for being here this morning. So what is this all about? Does it make a difference? Some places are very upfront about it, like, look, we'll take a look at it. We'll do a little run to see what's wrong with your car for nothing. But, of course, I mean, if the check engine light's on, number one, something's probably wrong.
Something's wrong, most definitely.
Does it matter if they say, yes, we'll charge you, no, we won't?
Most places, I mean, including us, will scan a check engine light. But that's what they're advertising is the scan. They plug it in. They say, okay, this is the code you got. Now we need to do diagnosis from there. Nobody diagnoses a car for free. Number one, because there's a lot of time involved. Number two, a lot of equipment that goes into it. And anybody that's any good at diagnosing a car charges for it. And in the long run, you actually save money by getting the car diagnosed properly than free diagnosis where your friend says, well, it could be this, and you're putting parts on a car. Obviously, that gets quite expensive, and often is more expensive than just getting it diagnosed and the problem fixed right the first time.
So I can only assume whenever you get those lights and it says these are the areas that have a problem, most people think, oh, well, that's exactly, it's a computer system, so it says change my spark plug. Not so. Not
so. The computer will often turn on a light, let's say lean codes, which is O2 sensor codes. The O2 sensors are not bad, though. What they've picked up is a lean in the exhaust system as far as running lean, and it's telling you, hey, there's a problem somewhere. We're not getting enough fuel into the engine, therefore it's lean in the exhaust. So you go and replace O2 sensors. That on cars these days, anywhere from $150 to $400 per O2 sensor, and the problem's still not fixed. It still has a lean code.
So if you're taking it to one of those places in the long run, it can cost you a lot more money, it sounds like.
Correct. Like I said, most places that advertise will check your check engine light for free do just that. They plug it in and say, hey, you know what, you have this is the code you have, now we need to do diagnosis, and this is what it costs. Almost anybody can do that for you. It's getting it diagnosed right the first time, obviously.
But the number one thing you want to start is at a quality repair facility. That changes everything.
Absolutely.
And then the codes don't determine the cause of the failure. I mean, you actually do have to go in. The diagnosis is much like being a doctor. You have some symptoms, but you've got to know what the problem is.
Correct. A code off a vehicle is more like when a doctor does a blood test. They say, oh, these levels are wrong. Okay, now we need to do some diagnostics and figure out what's wrong with you. Same thing with a car. It's a starting point. We know there's a problem. Okay, it's an area. You start from there and work through making a determination what actually has failed causing the problem.
Well, I recently had a problem, so I have to pick your brain about it.
Not a problem.
My check engine light came on as well. I take my car in, they say they fix it, I go back and pick it up, and still there's a problem. Then I have to pay additional money for that to be fixed, even though the car was acting exactly like it did when I first took it in. Do you have recourse? I mean, is there something you can do in that kind of situation?
There's definitely recourse. And the first thing I would do, obviously, is talk to the service manager at the facility, explain to him, hey, I'm not happy here. This is what happened. Picked up my vehicle, paid all this money. On the way home, I had the same problem. I had to come back. Things do happen, but any quality facility should step up. We'd step up and say, hey, you know what? We're going to make sure you get taken care of without any money out of pocket. There's a responsibility to your customer, obviously.
All right. Anything else that people should know when they're taking that light in initially? You're going to have a diagnosis. They're going to have to look at it. It's going to cost you a few dollars just to have that diagnosis done at least.
Yes, diagnosis runs anywhere, most people, an hour to an hour and a half, so anywhere from $80 to about $120 usually in that area to get your vehicle diagnosed so that you know the exact problem that you're having and what needs to be fixed.
All right, money well spent. Thanks,
Absolutely.
Brian.
Thank you.
If you have a question for Brian, you can also log on to our website. He has a link there, and you can ask him your question, and we'll put it right here on television.